morning and welcome to Mental Health Matters Office Hours with me, Dr Audrey Tang. My co-host is Judith Crosier, and in this morning show we take a look at all things workplace well-being. Today we are being joined by GinMan Counselling, and Virginia is coming to us all the way from Texas, which is very exciting, and she is going to be talking to us about women in business, and in particular whether we can have it all. We get bombarded with so much social media saying, oh, you can have everything, but actually it's quite exhausting to do so. So let's head over to the main studio and Jude and I will have a quick chat first. What other expectations do you think are perhaps unfairly placed on women?
Other than should be able to do it all, like be a wife or a partner, be a mother, be a housekeeper.
And I'm going to add on to that, be a sex symbol as well, and you know.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you have to do the washing up in, you know.
in suspenders.
Exactly. Whatever the outfit of the day is. I mean, I hope that that's becoming less of a thing.
Yes.
I really hope, and in my friends and my social group and colleagues, I see, I feel as though we're under pressure less to be like that. Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting that there are influencers out there who still portray that image, and maybe there are lots of people who still aspire to be like that. I don't.
Yes. Well, this is what we're going to be talking to Virginia about. So let's head over to chat to Virginia. Virginia, welcome to Mental Health Matters. It's such a pleasure to chat with you. Thank you so much for being here, especially so early.
I know, thank you. I'm so excited, and I'm an early bird, so I'm just fine.
No, it's absolutely brilliant. I mean, please share your professional journey with us, and then I'm really going to pick your brains about how we women can succeed in the workplace.
Okay, so I'm a mental health therapist. I've been licensed since 2011. I have a private practice with multiple locations, and my journey started when, well, I'm a former, let me go back. I'm a former educator. So the journey kind of started with that. I was an English teacher. I worked at a low socioeconomic school. So you can imagine, you know, some of the trials and tribulations with trying to be an English teacher, you know, having to worry about the exam that the kids had to pass, but at the same time dealing with some of their emotional issues at home, behavior issues, all of those things. So I went to become a school counselor, but I could not get a job in the district that I was at as a school counselor. I interviewed and just kept getting turned down after turn down after turn down. And I was I lived in Beaumont. So, you know, that school district was tough. And, you know, it's a lot about who you know, and certain things. And I knew no one. So, you know, I was first time everything. And so after I was like, okay, you know, as a woman, you're not going to let yourself be defeated, right? So I went back to school and got my 3 hours to become an LPC. So, yeah, as an LPC, of course, you have to, well, when you're doing your intern hours, you know, the businesses are open at the same time as school. Yeah. So I couldn't work and then do my hours too. So I resigned from the school district.
Wow.
First resignation. I resigned from the school district. And I went and pursued, you know, obtaining my hours. Luckily, I found a job that paid me a little money. It was less than what I was getting paid as an educator, but hey, God would provide. So that was my journey. And I knew that's what I was destined to do because I stood firm on what I was doing. Because at the time, so many people tried to talk me out of resigning. Oh, what are you going to do? The economy is so bad, you know, and all of that. No. This is my destiny. This is my purpose. And if this is what my spirit has led me to do and my purpose, I will be provided for. Oh. And so fast forward, moved to Houston because my daughter wanted to go to college, moved to Houston. And I was working for the same company because they had a company in Houston as well. So I transferred luckily and was still accumulating my hours. So I didn't like the way they were running their business. I'm like, oh my God, I don't like the way y'all are doing. It's time for me to get out of here. So I applied for a school district in Houston. So I got the job at the school district in Houston, resigned from this other company. And I did that because I wanted to run my own business because I didn't like the way they were running their business. I'm like, no, let me run my own business because I do not like the way they are doing things. So make my own business. So I went back to the school district, so I could have those breaks, summers, weekends, holidays, and worked on my business. And I evolved into my business and, fast forward, it's where I'm at today. Sacrifice. A lot of sacrifice.
Yes. I mean, GinMan Counselling is fabulous, and you support women in the workplace in particular.
Absolutely.
I mean, I was speaking to my co-host earlier, and some of the things that we find as women is there are so many expectations placed on you, and you're supposed to be able to excel at absolutely everything. You can just be a wife, a mother, a daughter, a carer, a nurse, all of that. I mean, what are the key issues that women are coming to you for? Because it's not just the sacrifice. It's not just the
sacrifice.
No.
But it's being passed up for promotions. Is not being able to take off time to take your kids to the doctor. Or if your kid gets sick, you need to take off. Just the normal things that you would do. But a job, I think, they're getting a little teeny witty, itty bitty better, but just a teeny bitty.
I know.
But for the most part, just equality. Like they want you to excel at your job, and we can do it. We can excel in our job, and we can excel as a parent, as in our household and at work. But at the same time, they don't want to respect the fact that sometimes you may need to take off for the other side of your family, not just because I'm sick. Sometimes my kid is sick. Sometimes, my husband is sick or significant other or whatever. But just fair equality in the workforce of understanding that a woman can balance it, but also you have to be a little understanding that sometimes she has to take off. It doesn't mean she's neglecting her job or that she won't, because we're going to make it up, right? We're going to work late, burn the midnight oil another night anyway. So why not? But it's not understood.
I think you've really hit the nail on the head there, because that's exactly the thing. We will make up those hours. We will make sure, because there's almost this overwhelming feeling of guilt if we're not doing.
Yeah, because we're not at home just chilling while we're taking care of our family. It's in our mind, oh my God, I got to make this up. I'm going to have to work extra. They're going to think I don't want to be at work when I'm really taking care of somebody. So it's, the guilt.
It's incredible.
It's draining.
It is. It's exhausting. And that can lead to things like burnout and stress and all kinds of things. And then if you add, say, menopause into it later on as well, when you're in the middle of caring for your child and your parents and
this, you in the middle, yes.
So much
more, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, perhaps since the pandemic, or maybe the pandemic spotlighted it a bit more, people do appear, and women especially, seem to be getting closer and closer to burning out. We are trying to do so many things all at once. Why is that? Why are we actually putting that extra pressure on ourselves? And why isn't it? I know you said it's easing up a tiny, tiny bit, but not enough. What is going on out there? Solve all the problems in the world.
Right. It's the societal norms of what they expect a woman to be like. And I tell some of my clients this, the women, I said, we messed up when we asked for equal rights, because now we have it, but we still have to do our other part.
Yeah.
Right. They gave us what we wanted. We wanted to work. We wanted fairness in this and fairness in that. Oh, hey, y'all got it, but you still have to do this other side too.
I love that. I love that. And it does make you sit there and reflect and kind of go, we never really thought about this in full as to how much pressure we put ourselves under and how much pressure, in a way, society puts us under without really talking about it. It's that invisible work kind of thing, the second shift, the emotional labor, all of that extra stuff that's expected, but not remunerated, not valued. It's, oh my goodness. And then in our own minds as well, and I'm sure you see this in your clients, we're fighting with that. I don't want to be called a snowflake. I don't want to be seen as less than. We're impatient with ourselves. That can't help us, can it? We need to,
Mm-hmm.
how do we take a step back from that?
And actually compassionate with ourselves, not just patience, but have compassion for yourself. We have compassion for everyone else, and we put ourselves last on the list of having compassion when we are. This is the other thing I tell my client. I like, sometimes you have to be a little visual for them to, get it, like break it, stop it. Hey, but think about your dining room table, right? There's the centerpiece and then there's the placemats. Well, we are the centerpiece, right? What are you doing to your actual dining room table? You're buying a new centerpiece because the other one was old. You're sprucing it up. You're cleaning it. You're making sure it's cute. Because guess what? If that centerpiece is not cute and well put together, no matter how old those placemats are, they still don't look good. So we're the centerpiece. You have to take care of you, make sure you're nice, fresh, spruced up, energetic. So the rest of the table, the placemats, the work, the kids, the all of the other stuff that we really never change, because we don't change the placemats. We just change the centerpiece and look like a whole new table.
It's true. And I love that because that's such a beautiful way of putting it. It's a very respectful and inspiring way to see ourselves. The centerpiece. It's nice rather than the glue,
The glue. Yeah, and I'm not the glue. I'm the centerpiece. You need me to look good.
Love that. And the other point you made there, which was so important, is I think you're right. We do confuse compassion with patience. We always hear about, oh, be patient, it takes time. But actually, it's much more about being kind. It takes time. That's a big distinction. Do you think not just women, but people struggle with those two concepts?
It's just that understanding, like, okay, I know things take time. I'm worth the time that it would take. I'm worth taking my time instead of overwhelming myself so that I can give you my best work. My best work is not when I'm burnt out. People think that it is, but that is not your best work. That is a cramped work that took you 5 times longer to do because you were overwhelmed and burnt out and stressed. Instead of taking breaks regularly, revamping your mind, calming down, and then you're going to be more productive. But people think if I work, I'm going to keep working 30 more minutes. I'm going to work 30 more minutes, work 30 more minutes. Already tired because it's past 5 o'clock and you're still working and you're working slower and slower and it's taking you a long time. And then you start questioning, well, do I know what I'm doing? Am I smart enough? Yes, you are, but you're tired. Your body is tired. It's moving slow. Your mind is tired. It's moving slow. Take a break, baby. Rest your nerves. Just take a 5. You don't even have to really sleep. I tell people sometimes just sit there and close your eyes for like 15 minutes and just breathe.
Yeah.
And you'll be so much more rejuvenated. And then you can get back into your task or wait till the next day when you had a full night's sleep and you'll get things done just like that.
It really is. It's that giving yourself time, but telling yourself you're worth the time. Those two concepts do need to sit together. That's so important. And you're so right, because sometimes if you're tired, nothing is functioning and nothing is going to function until you have had the rest that you need. That's like Maslow's hierarchy. It's just we need to have those basic
and that's how our bodies are designed. If you think about it, our bodies are designed for rest. That's why, we go to sleep at night and then we wake up in the morning. Ideally, some jobs, graveyard shifts. You see how people on graveyard shifts, how they're so discombobulated? Because our body is not designed to be up at night like that. Our body is designed to go to sleep at night, rest, fast, break fast, wake up in the morning, break your fast, and be rejuvenated so you can go.
It's true. It's true. And sort of on that, I mean, because I think many people don't understand some of those pressures that you have on the graveyard shift. People also don't understand what is known as the second shift. And this does tend to affect women more so than men. You have a full working day and then you got to pick the kids up. You got to make dinner. You've got to get them to their swimming class. It's like
it's home is your graveyard shift.
Yeah, exactly. That's a whole extra job there. And how do we get people to understand that, especially in many ways? And I don't want to, it's not men bashing, but men who don't have that because the woman generally is
But
doing
I've
it
seen it flip
right.
too. Like it's becoming a phenomenon that men are becoming more of the, you know, the house, the caregivers and everything. So it's starting to flip a lot. But whoever it is, if it's a man or a woman, whichever one, we're not gonna be biased, right? Well, you
Exactly.
know, you have to communicate. Communication is the key. Like communicate your emotions, communicate where you need help at, communicate to your support system, and have multiple support systems. Because people think that, oh, my spouse should be the one to do these other half of things that I don't want to do or can't do or whatever. That's not true, because they're probably struggling and trying to balance and, you know, overwhelmed. Not giving anybody a pass, but it's like balancing out not just yourself, but your relationship, right? And having that communication about what day you could do this, what day you could do that. When can grandma help? When can Amy help? When do we hire a babysitter for that day? You know, just use all of your support systems.
You make a really good point there because you're absolutely right. Partners, husbands, and so on. I was hearing something from another client where they were talking about a friend of theirs who they can see it's almost they come back they see the husband come back from work and immediately, oh, here's the baby. The husband needs to decompress as well. It's
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I think
mm-hmm.
we all, when we go into that second shift, that decompression is really, really important. So
Yeah.
how would you help somebody, male or female, or anyone who is feeling that guilt of, am I doing enough? And I'm sure they're doing more than enough, but they're
More
feeling,
than enough.
I should be doing more.
Well, sometimes we look for outside validation, and a lot of times we not going to get it and don't get it because first of all, we're looking at it from family and friends, and they're the ones that's less likely to give it to
It's
us.
true.
So just having a way to do your own self validation through gratitude journals, um, rewarding yourself. Like it doesn't even have to cost a lot of money. People think like, oh, I don't have money to reward myself, and I don't count a manicure and a pedicure because we need those. We go to work, we have to look right, right? So that doesn't count as self-care unless you don't ever get a manicure. Then and you forgo that's self-care. But if you do it on a regular, no. That's a part of the outfit, right?
I like that. And that is true, actually, because people even start feeling guilty about things like that. And
Uh-huh.
but you're right. If that is part of your uniform, that is
Mm-hmm.
part of you putting yourself out there at your best. And
Absolutely.
that is a
Absolutely.
necessity, becomes a necessity. That's so important. Um, the other thing I love, and I love this from your social posts on your website, you do these 5-day challenges and you really subscribe to this little and often to make the
Mm-hmm.
changes stick. I mean, can you give me some of your best sort of little and often tips that we can build into our life now?
Well, the little would be, you know, we have big goals. I tell people all the time, you should have big goals. They should be big for sure. And of course, they'll probably be 1 year out, 2 year out, or whatever. Realistically, you have to be realistic about those big goals. But every day you should be doing something little to get to that goal. Right. And that way you feel once again like you're accomplishing something. That's your self-validation once again. If you have a big goal, you have a checklist of, oh, I need to do these little things to reach this big goal. Every time you check off that list, you're like, oh, I did it. And then you look at the list, oh, I'm halfway finished. Oh, and let's do it on the flip side, right? It can also help hold you accountable for not doing what you
Yes.
should be doing.
Yes. And actually, I think there's a lot of good stuff that comes out of having a list because it
Mm-hmm.
gets you a bit more organized. It gets everything out of your head so you're not having to carry it around.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm very big on lists. I think they're
Yeah,
very
because that's
helpful
part of the
tools.
burnout too, trying to hold everything in your
Yeah.
head and remember, like, oh, I forgot. Then you take 3 more minutes trying to remember. That's a waste of time. People are like, oh, I don't have time to do this and that. You have to steal back time from find your hacks, wherever you can steal your time from, steal it. Because we all do have adequate time. We just don't manage it well, right? So just
Yeah,
something
no,
as
I
simple as that, keeping lists so you don't have to sit there trying to recall. Wait a minute. I know I'm forgetting something. What did I do? I was supposed to do something.
and
Three
then
minutes down the drain.
and not only that, it has repercussions. It has knock-on effects because if you have forgotten something, then you end up apologizing all the time and trying to make
Uh-huh.
up for that, and that's taken out
Guilty.
half the time.
Yeah.
Oh my
The
goodness, you're so
cycle.
true.
It's a cycle.
It's a vicious cycle, absolutely. Whereas something very practical, write it down as soon as you've got it, then you're fine. I love
Oh,
that.
but let me tell you about that too, what I find about women. People think that if I have to write it down, like have a journal, a agenda book, that they think that mean they don't have it. It's the opposite. That means you're smart.
Yes. Yes. That is very true because you're efficient. You are
Hmm.
dealing with it professionally. I love that. What are some of your favorite tools for your own well-being?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if people can handle my tools. I have multiple tools based off of what the thing is that I'm doing, the task, and based off of, I guess, how I'm feeling. Right? Because sometimes I have a calendar where I keep all of my appointments. I use an electronic calendar, right? Google or whatever.
Yeah.
I also have alerts on my phone. I hope they're off so they don't go off right now. I have multiple ways of making sure I don't burn myself out, my mind anyway, mentally, to make sure I don't burn out. Just I tell people sticky notes, I'm a sticky note queen. I know Office Depot probably love me because I buy so many sticky notes. But whatever your hack is, and don't be ashamed of, you see how I'm sharing this, but I said people don't understand me because I have clients come in and they'll see my agenda book. I say, don't try to understand it, okay? It's for me to understand, not you, me. You're not supposed to be able to decipher this, these languages and encryptions. It's for me. And that's what you should do. Do what's best for you. Don't worry about if other people look at it like, oh, that's a lot, or oh, what is that? It works for me.
And what I love about that response that you gave about these little hacks that you have so often, and I've done this show for over a year now, so I've had so many well-being experts. And what are your favorite tools? I go for walks. Brilliant, and that's all fab. I'm not, knocking any of those. Those are really important. They're self-care tools. What you've said is these are tools to stop me burning out, and that practical side of efficiency. That's hugely important, and we don't talk about that enough.
Right.
That's
To help you be productive, because being productive helps you reach your goals and it makes you feel good that you're reaching your goals. So whatever you have to do to be productive, hey, kudos, do it. Don't worry
yes,
about if somebody else isn't doing it that way. And I tell people, like, you see somebody else at the office and it look like they have it together. They don't have sticky notes and agenda books. Don't be fooled.
it's true. They're
They're
probably not
doing
doing anything.
something. Yes. If they're not doing something, that means they're just as lost as you.
It's true. No, I think that's absolutely right. And that kind of gets rid of that comparisonitis that we get with social media and all of these different things. I mean, that's brilliant. I love that. What about somebody who is trying to get a handle on their health and well-being, whatever that is, efficiency, self-care, patience, compassion, but they don't know where to start? Because you get into habits, and some of those habits can be pushing yourself to be the solution for everyone, fix everything for everyone. How do you get them to, okay, stop?
Yeah, first you have to evaluate healthy versus unhealthy, because you can do a lot of things, and people do a lot of things, from addictions to overwhelm, not eating right, whatever. And it's a coping strategy, but it's not healthy.
Mm, mm.
So you have to ask yourself, like I tell people, every time before you about to make a decision or when there's something you have to do, and if your goal is to be healthy or positive or these different synonyms, then you should ask yourself, wait a minute, is this sneaker bar I'm about to eat part of my plan? Is it healthy or unhealthy for my diet to lose 10-15 pounds? And then that's your answer. Like, it's almost a no-brainer, right? And so you don't have to talk yourself out of it, because we always have to have a rationale behind why we do something. So if I just tell you, do not eat the sneaker bar, do not eat the sneaker bar, you're going to eat the sneaker bar because there's no rational reason not to. But if you say, hey, if I eat this sneaker bar and my goal is to be healthy, this sneaker bar is define my goal. And I'm trying to be productive.
Yes, you've hit the nail on the head there, because this is like rules. Because if you've got a bit of a rebellious nature anyway, and you've got this rule of I must not eat chocolate, I must not eat crisps, I find a way to bend it. I'll go, I must not eat crisps. Yeah, but tortilla chips are not crisps, so I will have. And it's just, you're absolutely right. It's about finding that reasoning, and is it healthy for is it going to bring me towards my long-term goal, or is it not. And you're right.
It's okay to mess up every now and then, but that's why you have your checklist or whatever to see how far you've been off task. And be like, oh no, I've been eating too many Snicker bars in a row. It's time to get back on track. But you won't know if you're not keeping tabs.
Now, on that, this is a cheeky question because this one I see a lot. Somebody has all of this. So they've got themselves in order. They've got their checklist. They're doing all of that. And they fall off the wagon. And then they go, well, I've eaten the Snicker bar. So now I'm going to eat the cake and I'm going to eat the crisps and I'm going to... How do we get back on the wagon without sabotaging everything that we've just done? Because you get into that mindset of, oh, it doesn't matter now.
Yeah, but self-reflections help every day too. Like, how do I feel about eating this Snicker bar 5 days in a row? You know what I'm saying? And what can I do to stop making myself feel bad? Stop eating the Snicker bar. Or like stop. You can once you set goals, if they're not working for you, you can also revamp them. So if not eating Snicker bars ever is not working, then use it as a reward. Okay, I went to the gym 5 days, in a row. Snicker bar. Yes. Go to gym another 5 days in a row. Snicker bar. So having some rewards within that system helps as well.
This is so practical.
Yeah,
really
just don't go out of the hard work. Reward yourself.
Yes. And I love that. Oh my goodness. Virginia, I could talk to you all day because you are so inspirational. You are absolutely fantastic. Now, where can we get hold of you? Try your 5-day challenges and so on.
I am on all social medias at Virginia Dale Manning. And then if you want to find my business is at GinMan Consulting.
Amazing. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you.
Yes, I love it. Thank you.
Well, welcome back to Mental Health Matters. We are talking about women in business. I know I've experienced, I was at a conference once when the driver came in to collect us and my husband was with me because he was actually doing, I do a session where we need a video camera. So he was a videographer. And I was there with 2 male speakers. And immediately the driver spoke to my husband and the 2 male speakers, not to me. And then when we got into the car itself, the 2 male speakers went to my husband. I said, what are you talking about today?
Oh my goodness me! So what? You were the secretary?
I was the secretary, or the wife,
or the wife. Yes.
And then it was so weird because it got into after that when we sorted it out, it got into this weird thing of, oh well, my wife never comes on things. I'm just like, what are you now doing to my husband?
Exactly.
Have you had these sorts of weird experiences?
I mean, yes. I keep talking about my other job. I do have another job, and it's the same job, and I do the same job for 2 other organisations. Nothing to do with here, Audrey. And I am classed as a secretary in those positions. And actually, the position I have is equivalent of a CEO in a company. And and at the end of our meetings, the other people hand me their bits of paper they don't want anymore and like, oh yeah, can you just get rid of that? Can you put them in the bin? Are you not capable of walking to the bin? So yes, there is a lot of that goes on. And also there's a lot of, so when I started working for one of the organisations, I was 20 hours a week, but I had the whole week, so I could take the whole week to do it. Now that's not the case. So sometimes they expect me to work for free and to do all these other things which aren't part of my hours. So when I say, well, actually this week I've done this and this and this, and you're expecting me to do this and it's not acceptable, so I'll do that next week. So then I get emails saying, you don't have to be so emotional about it. So I get that thrown at me all the time as well. Like, we know that we know that you are female and that you might be experiencing some issues dealing with the job. So it's all of that kind of, there's so many wrong things about it. Yes, yeah. So I'm expected to do everything for them, even though they know that I actually work full time. And if I, put my boundaries and say, well, no, I can't do that, so therefore I'll do that another time. I'm accused of being emotional, but they wouldn't do that to a man.
No.
So that's the thing, yeah.
Well, if you have these sorts of experiences, we'd love to hear from you, just because I think it does happen. And
yes,
actually, this is the next question in a way. It's balancing that overly emotional kind of label that gets thrown at us.
Exactly.
When it's okay to be sad. You know, we get told, stop being over emotional. So you start feeling, well, I can't be emotional at all. But actually, sometimes things happen and you feel sad. You're allowed to be sad. How do we find that balance?
In work?
In work or anything, really.
Yeah.
Because it's such a stereotype.
Yes, it is. It's a really hard one. I mean, I now don't show any emotion. So that's the way I deal with it. And it's not probably helpful,
is it? Yeah.
No, but I'm just 100% professional in it, and then I get accused of being too
cold.
Exactly, one word that is used, because I'm very professional and I'm very businesslike, and it doesn't matter what you do, you get it wrong. And in my line of work, it's very common. So it's not just me, it's not just my organisations, it's that whole world. It's very common.
You said something there which suddenly it sort of rang a bell. You said no matter what you do, we get it wrong. That's because I think we're being judged all the time.
Oh yeah.
Men aren't being judged.
Yeah, yes.
I think we are.
Yes.
I think we're being scrutinised. Now that's not a real theory, but that's just a feeling I'm throwing out there. So again, comments if
I think it definitely happens. For sure.
So sort of going on to another area which there's extra pressure. I know neither of us have children, but we have caring responsibilities, or I had caring responsibilities. But that impacts on work.
Yes, it does. I mean, you had a lot of caring responsibilities. It does impact on work.
And again, that's not always accounted for either.
No, I mean, my mum, she's not well at the moment, and I have to take time out to go. She doesn't live very close, so it does impact on work. And I'm very good at making time for everything. So if it means that I have to finish my work at 10 o'clock at night, that's what we do.
Yeah.
We both have dogs.
Yes.
And they're not children, but we have to spend time with them, and you taking them to the vet or whatever it might be. So there's a lot of elements to our life, even though we don't have children.
Yeah, so with all of that, and with all those responsibilities and pressures and other things that you have to manage or juggle, have you come close to burnout? Have you been burnt out? Have you?
Definitely.
Really?
Yeah. Just before COVID, obviously we didn't know COVID was coming, but it was December 2019, and I was still teaching. And yeah, I definitely did. I just got to a point where I was metaphorically on the floor with exhaustion, and I just couldn't do it anymore. So
I think I realised I was at that stage, and this was when I was teaching as well.
Yeah.
When you're getting ready in the morning, having a shower, whatever, and then you just think, what if I got into a car accident today? You should never be thinking that.
I've had those thoughts, literally. Exactly that.
You should never be thinking that. You should never be thinking, I would rather be harmed than go to work.
Yeah, or my car be harmed. I know. Gosh, I mean, it's amazing that you've said that, because I literally had thought that a couple of times, and it was when I was teaching.
And that's when I remember sort of thinking, even at that point when I hadn't really explored my psychological career quite so much, but you still sit there and go, that's a weird thought.
What's that about?
What's going on?
That can't possibly be right.
Okay.
But with that, we have that much integrity that we wouldn't ring in sick. We'd still go in, but hope that something would happen on the way to stop us having to do that day's work.
Oh my goodness.
Because we're so exhausted and so metaphorically kind of on our knees.
On that, let's go to Business Boost, which is today on burnout.
Yeah.
Today's Business Boost is a little bit different because of today's topic. I wanted to talk about burnout in the workplace. Now, burnout has always been linked to work, and the WHO even tries to insist that burnout is specifically work-related and that's it. My concern with this, and this is not academically researched or published yet, but this is just what I hear from clients, is burnout as a description is when our resources, whether they're physical, mental, technical, practical, or anything else, emotional, cannot meet demand. And this means we then fall into perhaps anxiety, depression, feeling completely apathetic, and so on. And that is that pure exhaustion of burnout. However, you can still feel all those things outside the workplace. What about women who are doing the second shift? When they go to work, they come home, and then they have to meet a lot of demands at home. What about people who are caring? What about people who have 2 jobs to work as well as families to support? There are so many reasons why resources that we have, whatever they are, do not meet the demand. So this is more a plea rather than anything else. If burnout is a sense of exhaustion because we are struggling to cope, by restricting it to the workplace, all we're doing is not allowing people to explain that they are so fully exhausted for what? For want of another word to use, because burnout's associated with the workplace. So please, let's extend this definition a little bit more. Let's really think about when our resources can't meet demand and we are feeling exhausted, let's maybe begin treating that as burnout. So what might you do differently after today? What might you take away from today? Because it's our reflection time now.
I think that when we were talking before about if we get in the car, hopefully something will happen to stop us getting to our workplace.
So bad, isn't it?
But I mean, I'm still gobsmacked that you thought that as well. I mean, I probably
hated
think
it. Hated being there so much.
I know. I think that maybe use those kind of thoughts or that thought process as a way to pull yourself up and go, actually, what's going on here? This is not right. I need to change it, rather than keep going.
And I think that's something that we always say, but really in the context of what we've been discussing, it is so important for our viewers to know, and to anyone listening out there to know, is your mental and emotional well-being is not worth compromising for a job.
Yes,
exactly. It's really not. I get people coming to me a lot for career changes. That's when they get recommended to me because they're underperforming, and it's often because they really don't like being there, and other issues, which may not actually always be work. But it gets to a point where you have to think about financial bottom lines, you have to think about the sensible stuff, the practicalities of leaving a job. But one of the key things I would always say is, if it is really hurting your mental and emotional and possibly even physical health that much, is it worth it?
Yeah. And that's the fundamental question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think if somebody is at that stage where they're at burnout, then the answer is always going to be no.
Yeah.
And then the next question is, well, what can I do about it? And that's where you come in.
Yes, yeah. It's one of those things. And sometimes it is a case of just thinking about your transferable skills. I mean, I would always go back to temping. I know I can type.
Yes.
Therefore, I will do that. I don't have a problem with that. And sometimes when people joke about it, oh, I'll just flip burgers. Do you know what? Sometimes that might be okay.
Well, exactly.
You know?
It lets you earn some money and have some headspace.
Headspace.
And just kind of be able to breathe for a while until you can start your next part of your career.
Yes. Brilliant. Well, as always, another fascinating discussion from Jude and I. Have a healthy week.